we will start with attendance. So, Aguilar? Allen? Here. Appio? Here. Baruco? Present. Bennett? Here. Bonaventura? Borelli? Here. Carr? Here. Caruso?
Present.
Castellano?
Here.
Chacron?
Here.
Curtis?
Here.
Dennis?
Here.
Durir?
Here.
Gothru, the senator? Gibbs? Goebel?
Here.
Heidegard? Hoxa?
Here.
Jane? Jane? Javidi?
Here.
Jevesti?
Here.
Carl? Clayson?
Here.
Kukonda? Kukonda? Kowalski? Kundu?
Here.
Langer?
Here.
Lanza?
Here.
Laporte?
Here.
LeBoy?
Here.
McMillan? Michael? Murray?
Here.
Nazaro?
Here.
Nenadal?
Here.
O'Connor?
Here.
Von Olson?
Here.
Olger?
Here.
Perry? Perry? Rajaraman?
Here.
Regalski?
Here.
Santiago? Santiago? Savino? Schroeder? Sarek?
Here.
Sosnowski? Sosnowski? Tatar?
Here.
Tumu?
Here.
Villanueva?
Here.
Villar?
Here.
Watina? Watina? Bird?
Here.
Valverde?
Here.
Johnny?
Here.
Pinkloo?
Here.
Malechicon? Gopal?
Here.
Hinton?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Conrad?
Here.
Crooks?
Here.
Mirza? Sidani?
Here.
Stern?
Here.
Gothru v. Justice. Hack? Jimenez? And Zabrowski.
Here.
Serwin? And Monkbot. All right. So we will now move into public comment. For those of you that are signed up, we have a list of your names, and we will call you one by one to this podium. You will speak from this podium. And first, I'd like to call Elon Young.
Yes, this will.
Good evening, everyone. It's my first time at USG meeting, and I'm a bit nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Alrighty, so I'm here to speak in favor of the sanctuary city or sanctuary Yukon, in favor of my fellow friends over there. And so, as you know, last week, Mr. Donald Trump is elected as the President-elect Trump. And he's in favor of removing DACA, which is established by President Obama. And I was come here to speak on behalf of a friend, a very dear friend of mine, and I really don't want to lose her because of the removal of DACA. So imagine a friend, a really good friend of yours, who's suddenly taken from you one day, and then you probably will never see them again for the rest of your life. And it's very scary. It's unimaginable to even think about it. So Sanctuary City or Sanctuary College, maybe you have heard about this proposal, where the college campuses will be exempted from the immigration services coming here to take students, Huskies, the fellow Huskies away from us, from our fellow peers. So I'm speaking in favor of that because I love my friends, I love all people, my fellow Husky, all the students. And they work their life really hard to get to the person they are today. And I'm very proud of them, I'm proud of myself. And your nationalities are just constructs, because deep down we're all human beings, we're all people, and when we have friends, it's very hard to have other people take them away from us. So I'm urging the Senate and also you all to consider making Yukon a safe space for every fellow Husky. And I don't know if you are all aware of it. All the undocumented students, they also have to pay their tuition fees here, and they are not even eligible for any financial aid. So they deserve their spouse. They work hard. They pay their tuition fees in full to get their college degree, to achieve their dreams, and they deserve a chance to stay here with their friends, with all the bonds they've developed throughout the years with us and with their family, with the community. So I'm just here to speak in support, in favor of Sanctuary Campus, where all the students here, it's a land of opportunities. Every fellow Husky deserves a spot to achieve their dream, to hang out with their friends, maybe get drunk together in a bar, and cram for exam overnight in the library, and just have fun together. And overall, we're just a bunch of young people, a bunch of Huskies who want to achieve something in their lifetime. So I urge you all to think about this proposal, hopefully by the end of the year, before President-elect Trump to be the president, and maybe will possibly remove DACA as soon as possible. So it's very urgent, and I hope you all can think about it. And everyone over here, no matter whoever you support, we don't hate you. Not like some Facebook mobs, those internet mobs. I'm speaking here for the love of my friends. I don't hate anyone. You have the freedom to support anyone you want, but racism has no place here at UConn, and I'm here for the love of my friends and the love of my fellow Huskies. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you, Elon. Next, I'd like to call Jocelyn. And you can come to the Jocelyn.
Good evening, y'all. Thank you for having me and my colleagues be here. I am Jocelyn Blanco-Mulco, and I'm an undocumented student here at UConn. I will not tolerate the fact and the notion of hate going on in this campus, and I will not let politicians and students and conservative hardcore supporters let that be in the way and have me and my friends, 100 undocumented students here on campus, be removed and be in danger of racism, of misogyny, of Islamophobia, of everything else, and from other marginalized groups as well. I'm here obviously in favor of the proposals that for undocumented students, and I do not want to hear a comment say that, well, we're stealing jobs or we are receiving benefits and this and that, but the reality is that we don't get any of those things. We don't receive none. We have never received a government help or any social benefits that, and all these myths that people claim to say that we do receive, but we don't, and that's the reality, right? And so I just want you to keep in mind that there's around 100 undocumented students that go to UConn, at least an estimate, right? Here at stores or maybe in regional wide. And so the protection of this vote or this statement going out is really important because right now I am at risk of deportation if DACA gets removed. If DACA executive order that protects me from deportation and allows me to work and allows me to have a security number for work purposes gets removed, I will not have the ability to pursue the field that I want to pursue. So what's the whole point of me graduating and then not continuing to work in the field I studied for and paid for? Like she said earlier, we do not receive financial aid, right? So at least the thing that y'all could do right now to this point is at least protect us, right? Or try to enforce the safety that students really need right now, not just undocumented students, right? But other marginalized groups, right? Like Black folks, Muslim folks, people of color, and other marginalized groups as well. We've had enough from the stupidity that goes on with against our people and our communities. So I think right now is the time to act upon it and act upon against the hate that goes on and that will be established, or is already established, but enforced in January 21st. So please, pass this. That's all I can say. I'm sure my fellow friends who are over there will say more of it. But yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Jocelyn. If next we could have Hadia.
To get it tonight. Hello, party people. My name is Hadia, and I am here to speak in favor of a joint resolution regarding the protection of undocumented students. So, first, I need everybody in this room to say undocumented. So if I hear y'all calling people legal, you know we got problems. Because you can all say the word, right? Right? All right. So I'm here for obvious reasons. I'm Black, I'm Muslim, I'm a woman, and I stand in solidarity with my undocumented brothers and sisters, both at UConn and across the country. And so I really want to talk specifically about some parts of the resolution that I really think we all need to consider when we're voting on this matter. At some point it says, whereas immigration status does not determine undocumented students' worth or lessen their contributions to UConn, Connecticut, or the United States. So if you sit in your seats as elected officials at the University of Connecticut, and you vote against this bill, you are saying that it does indeed lessen the value of these individuals and the work that they do on campus, the work that they do for our state, the work that they do for our country, and the work that they do as human beings. And so I want you to really think about that. Think about the fact that you're saying, as a fellow student, that you believe not having a piece of paper, not having certain privileges, not having the same opportunities that you've had throughout your life, lessens the value in the terms of these people are not deserving of protections as students of the University of Connecticut. I've sat in your seat before. I sat in your seat for multiple semesters. I sat in your seat as the only Black woman in Senate at one point, as somebody who had to champion many causes for racial justice on this campus at one point. And I understand the big responsibility that it is to be a senator in USG. And so if you don't understand that responsibility, I ask you to understand it tonight, and I ask you to understand that these are people, these are humans, these are students. They're not illegal, they're not invasive. They have a right to be here, they have a right to be protected by you and by the rest of the university. So, again, I'm documenting, right? I need a verbal confirmation, people. Yeah? Thanks so much. Talk soon.
Thank you, Hadia. Next we could call, I believe, Farzana and Iman.
Hi there. My name is Farzana Zubair.
Assalamualaikum. Hello, my name is Iman Abbasi.
Oh, also assalamualaikum. So I'm speaking here as an ally to the undocumented immigrant rights movement. And I'm speaking here as using my privilege as a citizen, as someone who was born in the U.S., as someone who doesn't need these specific protections
to make sure that my safety is ensured within this university. I need protections. That's definitely one thing. I am a Muslim, I am a woman, I am a survivor of sexual assault. There's all these things that make my identity much more vulnerable. But during the election for Trump, I was fearful, not for myself, but for my undocumented friends and partner. I feel that the legislation, which is the resolution regarding the protection of undocumented students, is necessary in order to make it so that the students here on campus, especially undocumented students, feel protected and safe. The university has a duty to its students to make sure that we can achieve our education to the best of our abilities. Worrying about whether or not you're going to get deported, or whether your best friend is going to get deported, or whether your partner is going to get deported, is definitely a roadblock in this march to achieving your education. So creating a sanctuary city not only helps undocumented students, but refugees. It helps their families and makes sure that students are treated like human beings on this campus. If UConn does take this step, it shows that it is willing to be the first one to step up and be the one to say, yes, we are here to protect our students. I urge you to pass this bill solely for the fact that we have a very limited amount of time until Trump comes into office. We need things to happen fast because after January, it is a very slippery slope at that point. So from my perspective, from where I'm standing as a student, as a senior who's about to leave but wants this protection for people who come after me, I urge you to consider this resolution.
Hello everyone, like I said, my name is Imana Bassi. I'm just going to be joining and reaffirming what was said before me in support of this resolution, but also pushing for the fact that we should move to make the University of Connecticut, or this area, a sanctuary city. Just today, there has been reports that Trump and his team are pushing for a national Muslim registry. We've done that before. We did that in Nazi Germany with the Jews, and it's not acceptable. So you guys have the unique responsibility and power to show to the rest of the university campus and to the rest of the nation that as a university we will not accept things like that. We will not tolerate our Muslim students or Muslim populations being targeted in that way, and that we will fight for the equality and recognition for all of our students. Thank you, and please pass this resolution.
Thank you, Farzana and Iman. Next on our list is Ruth. Ruth Haddis. Thank you. Next on the list is Eric Lopez.
Eric Cruz Lopez, originally from Mexico. I came to this country when I was 7 years old. Thank you. I've been in this country as an undocumented immigrant for 14 years. I don't know how I feel right now, right, in the wake of all of this. Because while I have DACA, DACA may disappear in January 20th. But also my mother and my father and my brother are at risk for all the things that are to come. I am most fearful for my mother and my father, but I am also fearful for the people that are here on campus, that are living, existing, and getting through things, and moving through this university, and graduating, and working, and getting jobs, which is a future that might not be available for me come January 20th. I'm studying to be a secondary math education teacher, and come January 20th, I might not have the ability to do so. I might spend 5 years at this university, graduate, and not be able to teach. And that really sucks, right? But more important than that, a sanctuary city, Stores and Mansfield becoming a sanctuary city would protect me and would protect the students on campus who are undocumented. And it would stop police from collaborating with ICE in ICE detainers. ICE detainers which are unconstitutional because after somebody is released, they're not supposed to be held. And an ICE detainer says, hold this person for an extra day even though we have no charges against them, right? So, in short, I'm scared, my community's scared, and not only the immigrant community, but the other communities that showed up for us on Wednesday at a rally of over 500 people that verbally confirmed their commitment to the 4 demands that we placed on the university, that verbally committed to this resolution. And I think if the Senate does not pass this, then it does not truly reflect the student body and what the student body stood for on Wednesday, right, in front of Wilbur Cross. So as an undocumented student who's lived in this country for 14 years, I ask, but also demand that you pass this resolution to protect me and other undocumented students on this campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Vice President Valverde has made a point of order that all persons in the Senate will please close their laptops for the duration of public comment out of respect for everyone who's speaking. Thank you. Next on the list we have Sayed.
Hello, everybody. My name is Syed, and I'm an immigrant. I'm not an undocumented immigrant, and that is a privilege of mine. But speaking on Hadia's fact, I need you all to understand that they're undocumented, they're not illegal, and what we fail to realize is a lot of families try to be documented. They are trying their hardest to become part of American society, the legal way. And it's this legal system that stops them from doing it. Okay? My family was also like that, just because our family name is Syed. And after the 2001 attacks, we were put in this cycle of, yeah, we'll get to you. Yeah, we'll get to you. 5, 8, 10 years later, they got to us. But a lot of families are unlucky like that. And a lot of families are in those positions right now. And if the DACA bill does get deferred or, eliminated completely, those families will never get that chance. And I also need you to understand that undocumented workers or undocumented students, coming as a Muslim myself, they're not all the stereotypical Latin American immigrants. These are immigrants from all over the world. They are Muslim, they are Christian, they are Jewish. They are Eastern European. They are of white skin, and I feel like those people of white skin have a privilege that Latin American undocumented immigrants do not have. And we have to realize that as well. So when we talk about keeping this campus as a sanctuary city, we're not only protecting the stereotypical Latin American immigrant. We are protecting immigrants from Bosnia, from Serbia, from Pakistan, from India, from Africa, from the Caribbean, from all over the world. And they look like any of us. And you wouldn't know. You probably couldn't pick out which one of you is an undocumented student and which one of you is not, because we're here to learn. We're here to be students. And if we pass this legislation, we can continue to be students. And we can continue to change the world in the way we think it should be framed. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Is there anyone else who would like to be recognized for public comment? Seeing none, we will move into the next section of the meeting, which will be the approval of the minutes. In the drive were the minutes from session number 8. Has everyone had a chance to review those? If so, if there's no objection, can we enter the minutes into the record? Senator Baruga.
Along with asking questions,
Okay. If there's no objection, can we make that change in the minutes? All right, so ordered. Is there any other discussion regarding the minutes? Okay. If there is no other objection, can we enter the minutes into the record? All right, so ordered. Thank you. We will now move into reports. First, we will go into the report of the President, President Byrd.
Thank you, Speaker Wing. First, I want to thank all the students who came out today to speak on behalf of the joint resolution regarding the protection of undocumented students. As many of you know, it's not easy to get up in front of a bunch of people dressed up in suits and dresses and speak on behalf of themselves and other people. So thank you for coming out, and hopefully you can stay until the bill is debated and hopefully passed. I would like to mention that we need a student representative for the Student Trustee Election Committee. The committee that oversees the election of the trustee is made up of staff from student affairs and things, but we have one representative on that. If anyone is interested in being part of that committee, please come see me after Senate, and I can talk to you about possibly nominating someone to that committee. It's very important that we have someone on there. Next is the USG points system. Exec has discussed and tentatively approved a point system for next semester to kind of keep track of participation and kind of motivate people to write legislation and participate in new ways. I will be sending that plan to George, Speaker Wang. Speaker Wang will then send that out all to you. It's going to be done through an executive order, but we wanted you to be able to have the chance to see it first and bring concerns and comments and questions to me before I issue that executive order. So once you get that, please feel free to come see me about it if you have questions. And that is my report. I will take questions.
Are there any questions for
President Byrd. Thank you, President Byrd. We will now move into the report of the Vice President.
Can any chairs line up like we did 2 weeks ago?
I also want to thank everyone who came during public comment. I really do appreciate you coming out here and talking on your behalf, and then so many students here on campus as well. And it really takes guts to come up here and say, you know, I am an undocumented student, so thank you so much. But besides that, I just want to bring up some few things. So LGL pairings have been set. Chief of Staff Dick Glue has emailed already all of the mentors. If you were a mentor and signed up and you did not get an email, please talk to Sydney. And she's going to go over a bunch of details during her report. Lately, the office has been a little bit dirty. I know that your office hours have started, but please make sure that when you do have any garbage, you just throw it out. It's really not that hard. There's just been like cups left with water. God forbid that like that spill over on the computers. It just wouldn't be pretty. So just clean up after yourselves. And then lastly, some really exciting news. We do have banquets set for December 2nd, and that is only going to be $5. So if you do want to come, everyone should be coming. It's $5. It's going to be at the mansion at Bald Hill, and transportation is provided. I'll be sending out the RSVP form right after this, so just keep that in mind. And I hope you'll have a really great Thanksgiving break, and I'm looking forward to the Senate. There's some really important stuff that we have to talk about today, and I really hope that you're all supportive of everything that we're going to be talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Valverde. Are there
Any
any
questions for the Vice President? Senator Allen.
Can you bring guests to the banquet?
Not for the fall. That's usually a spring thing, though.
Thank you, Senator Allen. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the comptroller, Councilor Johnny.
Happy Hump Day. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for all of you for coming out for public comment. It's an extremely brave thing to do, and I think it's so healthy for us in here to get a perspective of what's going on out there. I've been talking about Student Fee Advisory Committee for the longest time, and the reason it's been delayed is because the documents that were supposed to be sent over to me weren't done so until 2 days ago. So this is my Thanksgiving. It's a whole packet that I have to put together. So a little bit of background on it. As you guys know, we're in Tier 3, which means we use student fees. Traditionally, every Tier 3 had to put out a referendum to the student body to ensure that they were okay with the way that every Tier 3 was using their fees. which was inconsistent because every year, every leadership board and every tier 3 was doing it differently. And so in order to make it as fair as possible, this student fee advisory committee was made and has student representatives on it to be able to oversee all the tier 3s and to be able to see all the student activity fees and how they're being used. If you have any questions on that, like I said, you can most definitely come and ask me. The types of questions that they ask us is, yes, financial based. What are you using your fees on? Where are they going? How is it benefiting the student body? But also more so about our organization. So what are we doing to give back to our students? How are we representing our students? So even in a financial perspective, we are held accountable to the way we're representing our student body. Keep that in mind as we go through today's Senate as well. Be open-minded and please be respectful as well.
Thank you, Comptroller Johnny. Are there any questions for the Comptroller? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the Chiefs of Staff.
Hi everybody, just to reiterate what Irma said, the banquet will be on December 2. A lot of you have been asking me that, and I've been saying it like every meeting, so write it down. Also, we will be leaving here at 5 o'clock, right? 5:15, yeah. So if you have a class that ends after 5:15, please let us know as soon as possible. It's going to be in the RSVP form as well, so make sure to indicate that. Thank you.
Just to go off of what the Vice President said, I have sent out emails to the mentors for the LGL program. If you think you are a mentor and you have not received an email from me, please email me, then there may have been a mix-up. I'm also going to send out like a general email to everyone in LGL with the pairs, so if that your mentor doesn't reach out to you, that you can reach out to them. On December 7th, mark your calendars, we're going to do a caucus that is specific to LGL. Yes, we are also doing Secret Snowflake. So that is, you fill out a Google form and then we will put your name, we match people up and then you give them like a present for under $10. Yes.
Thank you, Chief Electricon and Chief DeClue. Are there any questions for the Chiefs of Staff? Senator Villar? Okay. Let's talk about that next Senate meeting. I also realize that that's close to finals too, so we'll make accommodations for that. Are there any other questions for the Chiefs of Staff? All right, seeing none, we'll move into the report of the Public Relations Director.
Hi everyone. So the past few weeks I've been working on preparing for elections advertising for next semester. So I'm going to be working with George, Noman, and a few others, and just finding out how to branch out to the different cultural subjects. I know that Eric and George are working on hosting a diversity workshop. I'll also be working with Lisette on hosting a branding workshop.
Thank you, Director Sidani. Are there any questions for Director Sidani? All right, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the speaker. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd also like to take a minute to thank everybody who came to speak. It really does mean a lot that everybody put in the time and effort to come and speak, to put their opinion out on this issue. So I really do appreciate that, and I think a lot of your fellow students do as well. Other than that, I just have a few administrative stuff. Senate reservation, in keeping with the goal of Senate leadership this year to shorten Senates overall. We've been rather quite successful at that, so I have officially adjusted our registration so that we only have this room until 9:30. That saves USG some money as well, so saving student fees. Caucus on the 7th. I know that Senator Villar just asked a question about it. We will have LGL mentors meet their mentees there, but it's also going to be very loosely organized. I won't be that strict on attendance because of the fact that it's so close to finals. I will tell you, though, that I am doing my best to encourage all of you to come. We will have bistro tables set up in SU 104, and we will have some sort of food there to try and get you. Yeah, some sort of, well, it has to be some sort of food. And additionally, just for all of you to know, all of the committee chairs and the president will be producing a written report for the Senate by next Senate, which will be the 30th or the 29th, one of those days. So be on the lookout for those written reports. In addition, each committee chair and the president will be giving a verbal presentation of their reports. And one last thing, I know that we have a lot of residential senators. You're technically required by the Constitution to remain in contact with your local area councils. Unfortunately, local area councils are no longer a thing, so apparently they're local RHAs now, but I'm currently in the process of talking with somebody from RHA to figure out exactly how to coordinate all of that. I know some of you might already sit on both bodies at the same time, so you're already fulfilling that requirement, but for everyone else, we will need to make sure that we get you in contact with those.
All right, are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, we will move into the report of the Chief Justice.
Hey everybody, I just want to commend everybody in the back again, like everybody else has said, but I think it takes a lot to come up here. You guys spoke your points very eloquently, so I appreciate that. So last Wednesday, we finally got the opportunity to meet with Kathy Cox, who's the head of community standards, and she was able to outline for us how the process currently works. Much to our chagrin, we found out that there is really no student representation whatsoever, despite what we thought beforehand. The only student representation that is currently in place is on a probation review committee. So whenever there's a hearing and a sanction is provided, there is no student input. So that is what we want to change. So this Friday, we're going to meet at 1 o'clock in the SOC and create a plan to try to get students involved and get them in some capacity involved in making that sanction to students. So that way it's not just run by the administration. This is something that Judiciary and I feel very passionately about, so we really want to get this done. We really want senators to have input on this as well. I also want to commend Deputy Chief Justice Gatheru and Haiti, who's not here, for going to the meeting. They did a great job with Dr. Cox, and so
Thank you, Chief Justice Stern. Are there any questions for the Chief Justice? All right, seeing none, we will move into the report of the Academic Affairs Committee, Chairperson Gopal.
Hey everyone, I'm going to keep this really brief because I feel my report's insignificant compared to the very important legislation coming up. But basically, Academic Affairs we have one big event coming up and it's care packages. Everyone knows that we do that at the end of every semester before finals week. Not swag bags anymore, they're care packages. So what we did last meeting was we basically tried to plan one kind of a grail item to put in the care packages to get USG's name out there, get more buzz surrounding it, and try to get more students excited about studying in the library for finals. So we'll be approving funds for that at our committee meeting tomorrow. Feel free to stop by as usual, 6:30 in SOC. That's it.
Thank you, Chairperson Gopal. Are there any questions for the Chairperson? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of External Affairs. Chairperson Hinton.
Hi everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. We're very, very happy to have you. So this Friday, actually, we are having our Mansfield movie night for families in the town of Mansfield. It's going to be right here in the Student Union. It's going to start at 6 o'clock. We'll have food, and the movie will start at 6:30. So if anyone would like to volunteer, it's a very, very easy way to volunteer. If you need service hours for anything, could not be easier. Basically, you're showing people where to sit, and then after taking down a few decorations. So if you're interested in watching the Polar Express for a few hours with some kids in town, perfect way to get some service hours. So just let me know. You don't have to be in my committee. If you want to help, more than welcome to have you. The other thing is that we are trying to set our legislative agenda to go into next semester. We will have that hopefully finished. We're working with Speaker Wang to set that. If anyone has any suggestions of things that we should work on for next semester at the state level, please just reach out to me, or we can sit down and talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson Hinton. Are there any questions for the External Affairs Chair? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of Funding Board. Chairperson Johnson.
Hello, everyone. Not too much to report this week. I feel like I've been saying this a lot, and that we are wrapping up Fall 2016 funding, but it actually happened today. We voted on like the last 20 requests of Fall 2016, which a ton of money went out this semester, and I am so happy to see that, and we have a lot of happy orgs. So with that, we are now in the process of gearing up for Spring 2017 funding. We are beginning to prep the committee for the intake of spring requests, which have now opened. We have set the first deadline and the only permanent deadline of the semester. November 28th is our coaching deadline for any coaching funds, as well as any requests within the first 3 weeks of the semester. It's also the hard deadline that I work with the comptroller to decide for informational budgets for the spring. So that being said, again, we are just now in the process of cleaning up the office and cleaning out all the fall requests, and then gearing up for the spring requests.
Thank you, Chairperson Johnson. Are there any questions for the Funding Board Chair? Seeing none, we will move into the report of the Programs Chair.
That's good, everyone. All right. So programs, we've moved from our short-term initiatives, we're into our long-term initiatives now. 3 things that we're working on. We're working on doing a stress event the week before finals in the SOC, do some exposure to the SOC, we'll have some puppies there, give out like bubble wraps and coloring books. So that's part of it, like CMHS. Working with, I'm meeting with Kristen Carr tomorrow morning to work on Tier 2 Council, my initiative to bridge the gap between USG and Tier 2 organizations. And that's just, finding representation within Tier 2 organizations to kind of bridge that gap. And then also working with Erica and Rich to get that inventory system up so we can start tracking, all the resources that we fund digital organizations across campus. And just in terms of the bill that's being proposed today, it hits close to my heart. I come from a Muslim family. This affects me, this affects my siblings, my parents, my non-citizen grandparents. So, keep me in mind, keep all the wonderful people who are back there in mind when you're thinking about this bill. And yeah.
Thank you, Chairperson Mirza. Are there any questions for the Programs Chair? All right, seeing none, we'll move into the report of Student Development. Chairperson Cooks.
Hi, everyone. So our point people and vice chair have been decided. Hannah Bisadet will be the point person for our Women in Career panel that will be happening next semester. Emily Karina and Cindy Tran will be working on the Meat Cake together. Janae Williams will be working on the Culture Center Open House and Taste of Yukon combination. And Gabby Fazina is the Founders Day point person and also the vice chair. So if you see them, just offer your congratulations to them. So we're continuing to plan our mental health speaker awareness event. So due to a mix-up with his scheduling, our new tentative date is December 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. We're hoping to have that in Floral Hall 102. And we're also partnering with CMHS, and they're going to come in during a Q&A portion of the event and talk about the specific services that UConn has to offer to the students here. So mark that down on your calendars, but it is tentative, so when I officially know, I'll let you all know.
Thank you, Chairperson Crooks. Are there any questions for the Student Development Chair? All right, seeing none, we'll move into the report of the Student Services Committee. Chairperson Conrad.
Hi, friends. First, just thank you to everyone that came to speak during public comment and to everyone who supported them during public comment. I know I was scared out of my mind the first time I ever spoke in Senate, so I commend you so much for your courage coming up here. So Student Services is working on a bunch of great initiatives right now. Just broadly, we're working with maintenance on a bunch of different issues, and dining services, and parking, and transpo on a bunch of just little things going on, trying to work with them to make some changes for students. Our biggest initiative right now is working with Student Health Services on getting free menstrual sanitary products for students on campus. We have a bunch of great point people working on that, including Dylan, who's a senator, and Shabby, who is not a senator, but he's a longtime committee member. And we had a great call with a representative from NYU's Student Senate this past week, and are doing some great work on that. So if you have any suggestions or anything you want to contribute to that initiative specifically, please reach out to any of us, and we'd be more than willing to have anyone help out. And we're also working with on Wi-Fi, and Franklin's doing that. Sorry, I forgot that one. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Chairperson Conrad. Are there any questions for the Student Services Chair? All right, thank you. Seeing none, we will move into old business. Senator Tumu?
Motion to lay a joint resolution regarding the election of Donald J. Trump to the office of President of the United States.
There is a motion to lay on the table item A of new business. Is there a second to this motion? Javidi. Is there any, there's no discussion on this motion actually, so we'll move into a vote. All those in favor of tabling will say aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? No abstention. All right, the motion carries. We will now move into the next item of business, which is a joint resolution regarding the protection of undocumented students. There is a motion by Senator Oljay. Is there a second? Second to Kowalski.
Can I ask sponsors of the bill, those who are on the bill and those who want to be on the bill, to come up and stand in front? That would be great. And can we by unanimous consent add members of this body to the sponsors list?
Yes, President Byrd has requested that by unanimous consent we add additional members of this body to the sponsorship list of this legislation. Is there any objection to that? Seeing no objection, it is so ordered, and we'll add, where are we adding?
So everyone here wants to be added? Okay. How are we going to do this? First of all, Senator Von Olson's name is spelled incorrectly, so we need to add an H after the O, and no hyphen. And then, how do we want to do this? Yeah, if you're not currently on there, can you stand over here so that, or just tell George your name and your constituency, please. Make sure you tell him your constituency. Yeah, this is going to be very systematic.
I believe that is the full list of sponsors, and okay. As the sponsoring senator, Senator Olje has 5 minutes to discuss this legislation and to make any motions that she would like. She has requested that she yield part of her time to President Byrd, and I'll recognize that yield. You have 5 minutes.
A joint resolution regarding the protection of undocumented students. Whereas the undergraduate student government is charged with representing the views of the undergraduate student body at the University of Connecticut at Storrs.
Whereas the result of the 2016 presidential election has created turmoil within many individuals at the university and has prompted conversation about the implications of Donald Trump's policy proposals on students at UConn.
Whereas undocumented students are valuable members of our community and enrich our university.
Whereas immigration status does not determine undocumented students' worth or lessen their contributions to UConn, Connecticut, or the United States.
Whereas Donald Trump has threatened to rescind President Obama's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, hereinafter referred to as DACA, a policy that allows eligible undocumented people brought to the United States before the age of 16 to receive a 2-year renewable work permit and exemption from deportation.
Whereas, if DACA is rescinded, over 100 UConn students will face the threat of deportation.
Whereas a sanctuary city is a municipality that refuses to use its resources to assist the federal government in determining the immigration status of any resident and does not use immigration status as the sole reason for arrest.
Therefore, be it resolved that the undergraduate student government and University of Connecticut undergraduate student body at Storrs opposes the rescindment of the DACA program.
Therefore, be it further resolved, the undergraduate student government and the University of Connecticut undergraduate student body at Storrs urges the UConn administration to take whatever steps necessary to protect undocumented students.
Therefore, be it further resolved, undergraduate student government and University of Connecticut undergraduate student body at Storrs want UConn to implement the policies necessary to become a sanctuary city and prevent students from being deported.
Therefore, be it further resolved, that must include instructing University of Connecticut departments, including the University of Connecticut Police Department, not to cooperate with Immigration and Custom Enforcement's efforts to inquire about the immigration status of students.
Therefore, be it further resolved, undergraduate student government and University of Connecticut undergraduate student body at Storrs wants the town of Mansfield to implement the policies necessary to become a sanctuary city and prevent students from being deported.
Therefore, be it further resolved that the undergraduate student government and the University of Connecticut undergraduate student body at Storrs request that the UConn administration develops and releases a plan of action to address the deportation of any UConn student.
Therefore, be it further resolved, undergraduate student government and University of Connecticut undergraduate student body at Storrs supports the December 1st, 2016 deadline to release this plan set by students on November 9th, 2016.
Therefore, be it further resolved, the undergraduate student government encourages a healthy dialogue between students and administration and urges all parties to work cooperatively to find solutions to the dire threats undocumented students face.
Therefore, be it finally resolved, undergraduate student government desires that UConn be a community that protects and welcomes all students regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, sexual identity, ableness, age, immigration status, national origin, or socioeconomic status. George, or Speaker Wang, I'm sorry, can I make the motion to suspend the rules to have a separate period for questions and discussion?
There is a motion to suspend the rules so that there can be a separate section for questions and for discussion. Is there any objection to such a motion? If not, then it is so ordered by unanimous consent. We will now...
Sure. So this is my first time basically speaking in front of Senate, so kind of nerve-wracking, but I felt the need to help write this legislation with President Byrd because of the immediate need for it to address this issue on campus, especially last week. Going to the rally, it was very empowering, also very sad. So basically, a little history of my family. Both of my parents were born in Poland, and they have had the privilege of becoming U.S. citizens. But it was really sad when my mom told me that the entire time that she's been in the United States, this has been the darkest week of her life. So it compelled me to work with Dan to write this bill. It would be very disappointing if USG, on behalf of the student body, is not in support of this bill. Undocumented students are no different than us. As we mentioned, they have the same skills. We value our peers on knowledge, regardless of anything else, of any of the identities we have stated, and I would hope that you all think the same.
My last comment, I may speak during debate, but while we have 30 seconds left in our 5-minute presentation, I would like to say for students here at UConn who are undocumented, academic success can only happen if they're not worrying about the threat of deportation. Imagine writing an essay in your room, not sure if the federal government is about to pull you out of your room and send you to a country you don't remember. Academic success is key for students' success, and they can't have the looming threat of deportation hanging over their heads. So please pass this so that I can work with them and work with Lauren to go to the administration and demand this. It goes beyond just passing this. We have to put in the work to get them to do it. We can't do this by ourselves. Passing this isn't enough. We have to bring it to President Herbst. We have to bring it to the police. We have to bring it to the Dean of Students. We have to bring it to the CDO. There's more than just doing this. So please allow me to work with them and Lauren to get this work done. Thank you.
Thank you, President Kerr. Because a motion was previously made to move into questions, we will now do that. Are there any questions for Senator Oljan? Second call for questions. Seeing no questions, we will move out of questions. The rules are now back in place, and we'll move into discussion on the legislation. Is there anyone who would like to be recognized for discussion? Senator Carl?
Yeah, sponsors should sit down.
Senator Carl, if you could come up to the podium for discussion. Senator Carl, you have 5 minutes.
I was quite surprised at the sheer number of therefores on this piece of legislation, which is at the least unprecedented. I believe it is a issue actually. This bill contains many separate issues. I believe it should be divided into its constituent parts.
Senator Carl, is that a motion to divide?
That is a motion to divide.
All right, there is a motion to divide. Senator Carl, if you could please explain exactly where you want to make the divide.
Between each set of unrelated therefores.
Is this motion to vote on them separately or to separate them into separate bills?
Senator Carl, could you please clarify if you're motioning to consider the legislation seriatim or if you're motioning to split into several questions?
I believe many of these are so different that they constitute different bills.
There's a motion to split the question into several different bills. Senator Carl, if you could please provide exactly where you would like for those splits to happen.
I apologize for not coming prepared and not writing this out beforehand, but I believe it should be in between each therefore clause should be its own bill.
There is a motion to split each therefore clause into its own piece of legislation. Is there a second to this motion? Second call for second. Seeing no second, the motion, second by Senator Curtis. We will now move into discussion on the motion to split the question. Is there any discussion? Senator Kundu?
I don't really see any point in separating each of the therefore clauses into a separate bill. That could, first of all, I don't see any reason for it. They are all part of the same, end goal of making sure that we are able to protect the undocumented students at this campus and in this town. And each of the therefore clauses, to the best of my understanding, kind of leads into the next one so that we can come up with a concrete plan for making the process of protecting our undocumented students into action. And any single one of these therefore clauses, I believe, can't stand on its own to accomplish that mission. So I don't see any valid point we're breaking this legislation as it is, because this legislation as it is communicates the point very clearly. So that's why I would vote no.
Thank you, Senator Kundu. Senator Tumu, you have 5 minutes.
I would like to agree with Senator Kundu. I believe that each individual therefore clause does not constitute a bill of its own accord, and the motion to consider Seriton is something that I think that Senator Carl would be more amenable to, and we would all be more amenable to, as I personally do see the reason for certain therefore clauses being more controversial than others. And if that is a reason that this body sees that there may be a cause to consider separately, that would be more in order than it would be to split legislation into separate bills that would not produce solid.
Thank you, Senator Tumu. Senator Baruco, you have 5
If we
minutes.
separate them all into separate bills, we have to vote on them. So I understand your concern, but I think it's best if we do agree with these points, that we do it all in one bill rather than vote on 6 separate.
Thank you, Senator Baruco. Senator Olje?
Try not to crash out, just going off everyone's points. We explicitly said the intent of this bill, this is that steps that students, the student body, and the administration and diversity needs to take to protect our undocumented students. And so, though the therefore clauses are clearly actions for steps towards that action. So, instead of getting into the nitty-gritty details, I think this is a very consistent piece, and I
Thank you, Senator Olje. Senator Carl, you have 5 minutes.
I would agree with Senator Toomey, yes. Because I'm throwing my current request, I would like to move the question.
There is a motion to call the previous question. There's a second by, let's go with Alan. All right, we will move into a vote. All those in favor of calling the previous question and ending debate will please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Abstentions? The ayes have it and the motion carries. We will now move into a vote on the, Senator Murray, do you have a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to vote by roll call.
That is every senator's prerogative to have a motion to vote by roll call. This is a motion to vote by roll call on the motion to split the question. All right, the senator rescinds the motion. Is there any objection to that? All right, it is rescinded. We are now moving into a vote on the question of whether or not this bill should be split into multiple questions. Are there any questions about that? All right, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
All those abstaining? One abstention. The nays have it, and the motion falls. The legislation will be as is. Okay, we are now moving back into discussion on the legislation itself. Senator Kundu, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Alright, hey everyone. So first of all, thank you to everyone here in the back for coming in and speaking and talking about this issue, because this is really important, and I'm glad that we are bringing this as soon as we possibly could have. So to give you a quick background, my family and I moved here to Connecticut from Calcutta, India about 10 years ago in 2007. Back then, I was only 11 years old. So clearly, the decision of moving here was not my own. It was more of my family's. And thankfully, my family was able to keep us in legal status so that the whole process so far has been much, much easier for us. It's much easier for me to, let's say, apply to a school or get funding, even though I still don't get funding because or a lot of funding because I'm an international student, but still, the process is still that much easier for me because I'm in legal status, and my parents have the resources, have access to the lawyers that makes that possible. But the students here at this campus who are undocumented they're not in a much different situation than I am. Except for some of them, they are not in legal status right now because of whatever reason that might be. Maybe they did not have access to those resources. Maybe they weren't able to go through the process with proper guidance. Because trust me, going through the immigration process is extremely difficult. For those of you who have been through the process, you will know, and for others, you can talk to people who have been through it, including myself. Currently, I have to keep a stack of documents pretty much this thick just to make sure that I can hand that off to, let's say, if I want to travel outside of the country. Before I come in, I would have to go through the American consulate to get my paper stamped so that they know that I'm in legal status. And to maintain that, I have to keep a stack of documents this thick for each member of my family. And that's not easy. And not all people have the resources to make sure that they are in proper status and make sure they can keep all those documents in the correct shape. But what we're talking about here is the students at UConn. And for most of these students, these are not the people who chose to come here, and these are not the people who chose to be out of status. This is completely something that is out of their hands. But they are the ones who face the consequences. And that is not fair. It's especially not fair if they lose the ability to study and reach their goals that they are aiming for just because they are not following all the sets of rules and basically following the bureaucracy that goes behind the immigration system. They shouldn't be the ones who are punished. They deserve their opportunity to pursue their education and achieve their goals in life. And I think we should vote yes for this legislation so that we can give them a chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kruger. Is there anybody else who would like to be recognized for a discussion? Senator Kowalski, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Everybody. I'd like to thank again everyone who came out tonight to speak in favor of the bill. I think it takes a lot to share a lot of personal experiences for some people. And I think that really helps get the point of how important this bill is across. And so I just want to say that I really think this bill is an opportunity to do what we can do. To really help some people, and help people that don't necessarily I don't want to say have a voice, but they are undocumented, and that does make it difficult for them in many instances. And so I think if we can do what is in our power to help them and protect them and give them a space where they can, make their contributions to society without the fear of them being deported or, anything like that, then, I think that'll be time well spent for us. And, in that respect, I would like to point out that we don't have the power to, guarantee any of this, stuff. We can really only ask the university to do it for us. And that's why I would ask that, because all we have is our voices, that everyone vote yes to this bill. I understand people will have some misgivings, but I do believe that, if we speak unanimously with one voice, that will send a much stronger message to the administration that we care about these people. These people are our brothers and sisters, they're our family, and that we won't accept that they'll be treated in any negative way. So I ask that everyone support this bill, and if we can pass it unanimously, I think that'll go a very long way towards achieving our end goal of protecting undocumented students on this campus.
Thank you, Senator Kowalski. Is there anyone else who would like to? Senator Nanadol and then Lenzer. There is a motion for the previous question. Is there a second? Second by O'Connor. We will move directly into a vote on the motion to call the previous question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay. Any abstentions? An abstention. In the opinion of the chair, the nays have it and the motion carries. Would anyone like to call division? The nays have it. Or sorry, and the motion falls. No one would like to call division? Seeing none, Senator Nanadol, would you still like the floor? All right. Senator Lanza, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Hey everyone. I will be voting no tonight. Not as an endorsement of Donald Trump or because I disagree with any level of safeguard for the students in question, or not even because I disagree with DEC. The reason I'll be voting no is because what this bill is requesting is effectively that the administration directly defy the federal government in the instance that they're asked. Why does this matter? The school receives, I don't know the exact number offhand, but I believe it's over $100 million in federal funding every year. If this body is as concerned with what the potential Donald Trump presidency could mean, as this bill would imply, I think there's just cause for concern there, would anyone be surprised if UConn's funding was compromised by passing something like this? Republicans in Congress wouldn't stop Donald Trump if he tried to freeze funding. They have been trying to vote to defund sanctuary cities for the past 2 summers. So that's keeping in mind the fact that what we are doing is asking for direct defiance of the federal government. Simply out of that principle, that is what I'll be voting.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. President, point of information by Senator Baruka.
Would you be in favor of the bill if it was more than that? If it took out that you had to not listen to the federal government?
Well, that would involve getting rid of the sanctuary city part entirely. Now, that would entertain this interesting question. It stands to reason that this body would pass that amendment. That's not something I was planning on proposing. If someone else wants to propose that, by all means, but I feel like that's a solid bulk of the bill is involved in that specific point.
Thank you, Senator Baruka. President Byrd, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
On that point, Senator Baruko, I think my sense of this body is that it's probably going to pass. So I don't want to concede the whole bill on one dissenting voice. To Senator Lance's point, there's already federal law on the books that prevents sanctuary cities from being a thing. That the federal government can cut funding already. They don't need to pass a law. Well, you said Congress has attempted twice to try to cut funding to sanctuary cities. Federal law already says that the federal government has the ability to cut funding to cities who refuse to cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement's efforts to inquire about the status of immigrants. That law hasn't really been enforced, and frankly, I think it's worth the risk. I think UConn needs to take a stand to protect undocumented students. Donald Trump has also said that in his first 100 days, he'll cut funding to sanctuary cities. I think that's an empty threat. I don't think he'll do it. So I think we need to be able to go to the administration, say, maybe have the conversation about those concerns. Say, what do you think is the likelihood that we would lose $100 million in federal funding because we protect undocumented students? They may say, well, it's highly likely, and then we have that conversation. They may say, it's very unlikely we're willing to do this. So that concern, I think, shouldn't prevent us from passing this bill and allowing myself, the undocumented students, Senator OJ to go to the administration and say, on behalf of the student body, we are asking UConn to become a sanctuary city. Start that conversation, and this bill allows us to have that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, President Byrd. Senator Villar, you have the floor for 5 minutes. I saw someone over here had
Hi everyone. So just to respond to the comment about UConn losing money, I just want you to keep in mind that UConn is stealing money from undocumented students because their money is being put into a pool where they do not receive financial aid. So to that point, if you're gonna bring up money, then give the students their money back because they want to continue their education, and obviously in order to do that they have to pay tuition. So just to bring that up, but sorry. Just to clarify the whole sanctuary city, to my understanding, it is more of a thing that allows us to have an area for the police to not be able to patrol and stop someone of color and ask them, what's your immigration status? Because that is a problem. If I am stopped and I'm asked what my immigration status is, I will tell them I am a citizen. Just because I am a Latina woman who has curly hair, who is short, I am a citizen. So if someone has the ability to come and ask me that, I would be highly offended because I shouldn't have to justify my immigration status just because of my skin color, of the way I look, and etc. So just to keep in mind, I'm sorry I'm a little frustrated, but these things have been explained. Also, the part when we had separated questions and discussion, nobody asked the question. So if you guys really had these questions, if you guys really had these concerns, then I would have suggested you guys to ask a question. Ask a question so that somebody can answer it for you. Somebody can explain things for you. There have been multiple opportunities for you guys to be educated on these issues. And I can safely say that I have not seen USG representation in those areas, in those spaces where you guys could have been educated exactly on these issues. There was a wonderful event yesterday hosted by Connecticut Students for a Dream at the Puerto Rican Latin American Cultural Center, and they thoroughly explained what they want from the student body. And I can safely say that I probably was the only USG representative there. So, there you go.
Thank you, Senator Villar. Senator Greer, you have the floor for 5 minutes. There is a yield to Hadi Ali, and the chair will recognize that yield.
Hi everyone. So I want to talk about what happened last Wednesday. We had a rally, we all gathered together. I watched the people who are my family on this campus, the people who I consider to be my closest friends, crying out of fear for their families, for their communities, for their own safety. And I really want to remark what a privilege it must be to stand at this podium and say, but what about our money? When people are talking about their lives, when people are talking about their entire generation being impacted by these policies, I want to talk about what a privilege it is to sit in this room in all of our suits with all our nice placards and talk about what about our money. And so I really want to consider Senator Lanza to be a person who really worries about all people on this campus, but those comments are not reflective of that. And so I want all of us to consider the privilege, the status of us in this room, and the responsibility we have to the entire university community, and to say, well, I won't say what I want to say because we can't write that for during the minutes, but it's to say that if the money is going to be yanked from us, we're going to protect our brothers and sisters, they can have it. Simple as that. Thanks again.
You still have the floor for 3 minutes. Would you like to? Senator Drew yields. Senator Lanza, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Well, going off of that, yes, the 100 million, I'm not exactly sure what the figure is, but that would, I mean, negatively impact every student at the university.
That 100 million is included if the university wants sanctuary.
Okay, so this is the original point why I came up here. If there's any, just for the sake of clarity, if there's any ambiguity about what I said. So, the President of the United States has the power to freeze any kind of federal funding. So, that would include any grant from, for example, the National Science Foundation, any federal funding that comes to this university. The President has the power to freeze. Now, he said he wants to freeze federal funding to sanctuary cities in his first 100 days. Maybe that's an empty threat. None of us really know what Donald Trump actually means when he says the things he says. That's why I said there's just cause for concern regarding a Donald Trump presidency. So we really don't know what he's capable of. And what we're doing is jeopardizing, significant, I think it's about 8 to 10% of the school's budget. And what I said about Congress, no, Congress does not have the power to freeze federal funding. However, were the president to do so, Congress has some ability to try to fight that. All I was saying when I referenced Congress was that current climate on Capitol Hill, that would not happen because Congress has made efforts the past 2 summers to try to become sanctuary cities. So we now have a president who ostensibly is all in favor of doing so. We have Congress who would really make no effort to stop him, and we are trying to make ourselves just that. And that's all I'm saying. All it is risk reward. We were weighing whether or not he would actually be willing to go through with something like that versus the loss of about, like I said, I don't have the figure offhand, but I think it's something like 10% of the school's budget.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. Director Mirza.
I just want to speak to how we're going about debating this right now. I'm the first person to vote yes for this, but obviously I can't. If we're going to be discussing this, obviously everyone's pretty fired up about this. This is pretty contentious, as contentious as it gets. Let's not lose respect for each other. How we pass this today, if we pass it, if we don't, depends on, it reflects how we're going to work as a body for this semester, next semester. Dissenting opinions are important, whether you agree or not. Just make sure you show respect, because every opinion does matter. That's what this is showing right now. So how we address this issue right now is important, and I just want you to keep that in mind for the rest of my time.
Thank you, Director Mirza. Senator, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized for discussion? Senator Nenadal, you have the floor for 5 minutes. Senator Nenadal yields. Is there anyone else who would like to be recognized for discussion? Seeing none, we will move in. Senator Baruco.
I wholeheartedly agree with this bill. We're taking a step in the right direction to do something good and show that we're not going to alienate people that are undocumented. But I want us all to understand, everyone in the Senate here, the executive board, the people that wrote this bill, that we are not combating the root of the problem. And the issue that America and the university faces is the difficulty of people to fill out this path to documentation, to fill out all the citizenship forms. We need to make that more easily available so anyone that wants to be a citizen can easily do so and is told in their language that they can. I just feel that's the root of the problem. I agree with this bill, but this bill doesn't solve that. And I just wanted to let that.
Thank you, Senator Baruco. Is there any other senator that would like to be recognized for discussion? Senator Murray, earlier you had a motion for a roll call vote. Would you like to make that motion now? Yes. Senator Murray has made a motion for a roll call vote. I see a lot of people raising their placards as if to ask for a second, but it's the personal privilege of any senator to call for a roll call vote. So there's no vote on this. We will move into a roll call. Senator Toomey, do you have a motion?
Motion to vote on the bill or the resolution separating out the clause, therefore be resolved that the undergraduate student body
And which other clause?
Right, the immigration and customs enforcement efforts to acquire valuable those two clauses.
There's two clauses. There is a motion to consider the question by parts. Is there a second to, and there is a second by Senator Carl. We'll move into a vote on the motion to consider the legislation by parts. All those in favor will say aye. Senator Juma.
Also, the clause underneath, the policy is necessary to become the sanctuaries.
All those in favor of separating this legislation into parts will say aye. Aye. All those opposed will say nay. Nay. In abstentions, one abstention. In the opinion of the chair, the nays have it and the motion falls. Would anyone like to call for division? All right. We'll now move into, unless there, is there any other discussion or motion? Seeing none, we will move into a vote on the legislation by roll call as requested by Senator Murray. Give me 1 second here. Aguilar is not here. Allen?
Aye.
Appia? Baruco? Bennett? Borelli? Carr? Caruso? Castellano? Chacron? Curtis? Dennis? Duer? Gatheru? Goebel? Hoxa? Jane? Javidi? Javisti? Carl?
Nay.
Clayson? Kondo's not here. Kowalski? Kundu?
Aye.
Langer?
Aye.
Lanza?
Nay.
Laporte? Has recused. Lavoy? McMillan? Murray?
Aye.
Nazaro? Nenadal? O'Connor?
Aye.
Von Olsen? Olje? Rajaraman? Rogalski? Savino? Schroeder's not here. Sarek? Sosnowski? Sakar? Tumu? Villanueva? Villar? And the chair abstains. Give me 1 second. Actually, Motina. By roll call vote, the ayes have 35 and the motion carries. Thank you everyone for your very thoughtful and meaningful discussion on the topic. We do have a motion that is currently, an item of business that is currently on the table. Would someone like to make a motion to withdraw that item from the table? Senator Toomey, there is a motion to withdraw a statement of position on a joint resolution regarding the election of Donald J. Trump to the office of the presidency of the United States of America from the table. Is there a second? There's a second to Nenadal. Is there any, we'll move into a vote on whether or not to withdraw this motion from the table. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? One abstention. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. We'll now move into a joint resolution regarding the election of Donald J. Trump to the office of the presidency of the United States. Senator Toomey, you have the motion. Is there a second for this piece of legislation? Oh, my apologies. We're moving back into this item, and I will put that item on the screen now, which is this. So, right. We just voted to withdraw from the table, but now we need a motion and a second to enact the legislation. So I'm looking for a second to enact the legislation. Second goes to Senator Nenadal. We will now move into discussion on this legislation. Senator Toomey, as the sponsoring senator, you have 5 minutes.
I intended for this resolution to be something we could all get behind, a nonpartisan statement of position on this body on the election of Donald Trump to the presidency. I wanted to reaffirm that we all stand behind every UConn student, regardless of their immigration status, regardless of their race, regardless of their sexual orientation. And we wanted to make sure that it is clear to everyone that as a community, we support each other. And that is what I believe this bill attempts to convey. I yield my time to the chair.
Thank you, Senator Toomey. Is there any further discussion on this legislation? Comptroller Johnny, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
This is not going to take 5 minutes. I just want to say, as a new senator, it's commendable that you took the step to make legislation, and I want that to be an example for everyone. You didn't discuss it today, and it was good for the agenda. It's still a commendable step, and I hope that all new senators follow example and take that.
Thank you, Comptroller Johnny. Is there any further discussion on this legislation? Seeing no discussion on this legislation, we will move into a vote on whether or not to enact this legislation. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. All those opposed will say nay. Abstentions? One abstention for the chair. The ayes have it. Oh, sorry, 2 abstentions. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. All right. We will now move into discussion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into announcements. Are there any announcements? Chief of Staff Lechicon?
Hi everyone. Thank you for coming and thank you for being engaged in lively debate. Friendly reminder that if you have a bunch final, Friday's the last day to fix it. So get on that.
Thank you, Chief of Staff Lechicon. I'm sure that's a reminder for many of us, including me. Are there any further announcements? Senator O'Connor and then Rogalski.
Sorry about that.
So UConn PERG, I think you all know, we are going to try to get as many kids on campus to register. We're having an event for our Democracy Squad. It is November 30th. It's all about the Citizens United app, and it's trying to have a sort of discussion about it. So if you can make it there, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Where is it?
It's going to be Fairfield Way on November 30th, around 1 p.m. to 4, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator O'Connor. Senator Rogalski?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Andrew Rogalski. I'm a senator for North Campus, and I was also appointed the Faculty Standards Committee member from the Undergraduate Student Government, and I just wanted to tell you guys what's going on there real quick. I'm sorry, I don't want to take up too much of your time. In our meeting on November 7th, we talked about meritus status for professors. So basically what that means is retired professors with tenure, what constitutes meritus status, which would mean keeping your office, keeping your school email, keeping your connections with the school, and your title as professor. And so we decided on a 5-year affiliation with the university, tenure status, and there's a lot of good progress. So thank you guys very much. And also, thank you for everyone who spoke today. It takes a lot of guts to get up here, especially on something that you very feel passionately about. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Senator Rogalski. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, if there's no objection, we will... What? Oh, sorry. Sorry. There's an announcement that there's the movie night this Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. in the Student Union Theater. Yes. Refreshments in 104. If there are no objections, we will adjourn at 8:20.